empty seats here, ladies and gentlemen, please do that so that we are able to start while on time. Bare nix. Ke bua le bona and ke bua le ena o buang o hore please come to the front. Whoever has just spoken, do good and come to the front. Oh, there you are. You see, that's the king. Are tlang ba gaetsho. Ko morago ko abuti wa topo e green le mese. The ladies with glasses, the other one is holding a cup. That row there, can you come on front? Yes, yourself. Asom believe, Mrs. Even there are empty seats here. I see Councillor Stephers, your row there and everybody that's behind you, can you come to the front? Councillor Stephers, please don't do that to me. I'm not going to ask you any questions. We are not writing any exams. That's on a lighter note. Ladies and gentlemen, can you do that so that we are able to start on time? We're still waiting for others to get seated so that we are able to. Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe we are all seated while I'm waiting for the ladies to sit down. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Selina Mumakwe. I am the chairperson of the Municipal Finance and Fiscal Working Group. I am also the council speaker at the Rand West City Local Municipality. And today I am going to be your program director. And I must applaud yourselves. It's normally rare when you start a meeting in the afternoon that you get so many people. However, I'm disappointed that you don't want to be closer to me, but I'm hoping tomorrow that you will come close to myself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to this conference of today. And I'm not going to do much, but I'm going to program direct, and we are going to stick to the time. I'm not sure, Mapifo, if we are having anyone from Regenesis who's going to tell us where are the ablutions. Or maybe let me rather do that. If you go out the door, you turn right and then right again, and there will be ablutions for us. And I'm hoping that we are going to have a wonderful and a fruitful day. And I will want to welcome on stage our councillor, who is Councillor Belinda Echiozonko, who is going to do us the opening and welcome for this conference. Councillor.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Councillor Belinda Echiozonjoku from the city of Johannesburg, chairperson of SALGA in absentia. All provincial executive members present, mayors, municipal speakers, chief whips, Section 79 and Section 80 committees, all councillors from various municipalities present here today. Salga Gauteng Provincial Director of Operations, city and municipal managers, municipal officials, holders present, sponsors and partners. It gives me great pleasure today to speak to you this afternoon, to welcome you most cordially at the official opening of the first supply chain management, record keeping, auditing conference of all municipalities in Gauteng under the administrative leadership of Ms. Pilisiwe Twala Tau. This event is the culmination of an enormous collective effort that began at the Municipal Finance and Fiscal Policy Working Group meeting on the 18th of June, 2024, which was chaired by our very own Councillor Selina Momakwe. The letter was then endorsed by the Provincial Executive Committee of SALGA on the sitting of the 20th of September 2024, led by our own chairperson, Councillor Jongizizwe Tlabati. Many institutions such as Regenesis Education School, Gauteng Provincial Treasury, and Sibitsi IT Services, Tiyiso Consulting have contributed to the hosting of this conference, either through funding or through non-monetary support, and we want to say thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, in recent years, we have witnessed a significant increase in concern among supply chain management, contract management, record keeping and auditing processes as per the pronouncement made by the Office of the Auditor General every year. Even so, we still have a long way to go. And only through joint effort will we be able to reach our fundamental goal. In this sense, colleagues, I consider this Conference of Municipalities as taking a transcendental role for the future of local government. Distinguished visitors, let me express on behalf of SALGA political leadership our most sincere wish that the discussions and agreements today resulting from today's lecture will positively contribute to the consolidation of the aim of municipalities for the attainment of clean governance and sound financial management under the theme of doing the right things for the right reasons, in the right way, at the right time. Program Director, we have come together to discuss, debate, and arrive at common positions on the way forward for improving the systems of local government and local governance in our province. Today's lecture will give us the welcome opportunity, colleagues, to collectively assess the progress that is being made in the actual theatre of implementation in the sphere of local government, to appreciate the challenges that lie ahead, and to equip ourselves effectively so that we may better be able to discharge our responsibilities diligently as far as supply chain management, contract management, record-keeping issues are concerned. It is during this gathering, colleagues, that we must pause and perhaps robustly get a sense and determine the status quo of our internal controls. We can map our way forward and improving and accelerating service delivery across our beautiful province. We need to commit ourselves, colleagues, to serving our communities to the best of our abilities. Of more importance, the work ethics that we need to portray should be proper leadership. It should improve our oversight role, provide better services to residents and citizens through better supply chain management processes, promote sound finances by eradicating an increasing number of deviations due to poor management of contracts, which we know is a serious challenge in our province among our municipalities. We must encourage better record management, and most importantly, colleagues, prepare the audit file up front to avoid additional audit cost. I officially, colleagues, declare the lecture open. Let's indulge, let's collaborate, let's engage in the name of better local government, to be responsible and responsive to citizens and residents in our respective municipalities, our regions, and our communities within our beautiful province, Gauteng. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Belinda. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, councillors, can we give her a round of applause? Thank you, Councillor Belinda, for opening and welcome the conference. And you did not only do that, but you also encouraged us to fully participate on this conference and to go back to our municipalities and implement what we are going to learn here to ensure that we attain clean audits and translate that clean audits to service delivery. I thank you very much for that, Councillor Belinda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to our next item on our program, and I am going to introduce the next coming speaker to yourselves. And this speaker is a doctor, and it's Dr. Ngoni Shuro, who will be doing the presentation for us. And I would like to tell you more about him, what he has done, what he has achieved, and what is it that we are going to learn from him. Dr. Ngoni is an accomplished chartered accountant with over 24 years of professional experience in accounting, auditing, corporate finance, and taxation, alongside 14 years of teaching and lecturing in higher education. He holds a PhD in accounting from UNISA, a master's in accountancy from University of KwaZulu-Natal, and a Bachelor of Business Administration in Accounting from Solusi University. Dr. Ngoni is also a full member of both the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Zimbabwe and the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants. His expertise spans industries such as manufacturing, financial services, healthcare, education, and non-profit organizations, where he has provided advisory services on financial and operational performances improvements, group restructuring, and business evaluations. And also throughout his career, Dr. Ngoni has demonstrated exceptional leadership, managing portfolios on high-profile clients, delivering presentation to audit committees, and collaborating with directors and executives. He has been instrumental in developing audit strategies that adhere to international standards like IFRS and IPSAS, of which I hope he will explain what does that mean as his abbreviation, and has led teams in complex audit, consolidation, and business evaluations. His strong organizational skills, high-level project management, and effective communication abilities have enabled him to thrive in fast-paced environments. Additionally, he has provided academic leadership, coordinated course delivery, and supervised honors and master students in research, contributing significantly to the academic and professional development of aspiring accountants. And I would like to welcome him on stage so that he can be able to give the presentation to us. And let's listen to him attentively. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, a round of applause to our doctor.
Afternoon, everyone. I think after that presentation, I hope I'll match to what she read about me, what I'm supposed to present. When I was asked to present, I faced challenges. to say, who am I going to talk to? These guys are experts in what they do. And my breakthrough came when I looked at your conference theme. Doing the right things for the right reasons, in the right way, and at the right time. Then I felt at home because this is where I feel more comfortable. When we look at this topic, this theme, it's all talking about being ethical. It's talking about being ethical, and that is being the challenge with most organizations, not only municipalities, but all organizations to do the right thing. What is doing the right things? When we look at doing the right things, it means doing the right things even if your boss doesn't like the right things. Even it means that people would say the contract failed because of X, Y, Z. You have done the right things for the right reasons. What are those right reasons? We look at why I want to look at why municipalities are there. They are there to deliver to the communities. That is the right reasons, to provide services to the communities. I'll ask you a question. Are we succeeding on that? Are we succeeding on that? In the right way. What is the right way to provide that service? And at the right time. Are we on target with sustainability goals set out by the government? Are we in target for all developmental goals? Sometimes some of us, we watch news, and there's something which is happening on news these days. There are less demonstrations. I don't know why. Is it that we have done the right things, or people are tired of demonstrating for services? I don't know. When we look at SALGA, this is what we stand for. I'll talk on behalf as I'm a member of SALGA also. We represent local government. And that is what we represent in the local government. And we are the connection between service delivery, what people expect from us as the service providers, as we are part of the community. Without you guys, there's no proper service to the community. That is one thing. You miss out a day or two when something's supposed to happen in the office, the transaction doesn't go through. Right, we look at the mandate of SALGA is to transform local government to enable it to fulfill its developmental goals. That becomes very critical. Remember, we are talking about contract management. This sends us through on contract management. Contract management becomes, because the contract is the cornerstone for any service we provide. And the contract also, sometimes when people talk of the contract, we talk about the contract with the outside parties, the contractors, etc., who provide our service. But the critical contract is with the community who expect service from us. Are we meeting the obligation of that contract? When someone opens the tap, what do they expect to see? Water. Is it coming out? Is it clean? Is it meeting all the specific health requirements? If someone is driving home, they expect good service, nature, robots working, no portals, a lot of things. Are we providing those? That is the biggest contract we need to look at, more than the service provider. Right. The role and mandate. I looked at the role of mandate I looked at the first 6 to represent, promote, protect the interests of local government, intergovernmental system. I think by attending this conference, we are meeting that objective. It's part and parcel. Knowledge sharing comes through interaction. And also promotion. You can't just say, we work at our own municipality. We don't interact with other municipalities. Sharing knowledge, creating these such platforms, they enable the local government to move forward. Transform local government to enable it to fulfill its developmental role. What is transformation? I'll leave a question there. How do you transform? Where are we going? Are we having a one-stop for all the clients we have in our database? Someone walks to a municipality, do they say, I'm going to get the best service? Have we transformed municipalities municipalities to provide the best service to the communities. Enhance the role and status of members and be consultative body of local government. Are we enhancing the status of its members, yourselves, and the community? What is key for me is the community, the end result. And then enhance the role and status of municipalities. I'll stick to this one. The role of municipalities and status of municipalities. There's a lot. Sometimes we always think that municipality is just for there to provide service, water, sanitation. We forget that it creates employment also for us. When it creates employment, are we able to put measures in place for sustainability for that municipality to continue? And this comes back through contract management. It becomes a critical issue to say, how is contract management being taken into account? Are we holding accountable those who are supposed to provide services? Are we actually reading through the contract documents in detail? Are we getting someone to give us a second and third opinion when we draft these contracts? And are we holding accountable to non-service delivery? We talk about develop common approaches for local municipalities and develop common approaches for local and government at a district sphere. Enhance cooperation, mutual assistance, and sharing of resources among members. Our municipalities, are we not working in silos? We have got this supplier X. He has not provided. He comes back, he goes to another municipality and doesn't provide. Are we creating that database to say, let's watch out for client X? Because we say enhance cooperation, mutual assistance, sharing resources among members. Are we sharing to say, this guy is a red flag? Whenever you get into a contract with this person, make sure that you protect the municipality, or this person goes to municipality 1, doesn't finish the project, municipality 2 doesn't finish the project, municipality 3 doesn't finish the project. What you're only seeing is Mr. X, registered company A, Mr. X, registered company B. Are we sharing that information in our database? It goes back to the organization to say, find solutions for problems relating to local government generally. I think the person with the solution is you guys. No one has got the solution. And no one can prescribe a solution. You know what's wrong, and everyone knows what's wrong. We can guess people who are not in the system, and solutions, they are not uniform for each municipalities. They are all unique. We want to go to the role of the municipality. What is the role? It's instrumental in providing community with essential services, such as clean water. Are we ticking that box? Are we providing that service? Are we making sure that the contracts we do and everything which you are doing, the management, remember all this, there's the auditing aspect. When we talk of clean water, who provides the water? They are water bodies. Are we holding them accountable? Or we are just saying, let them just supply us? Are we holding those water bodies accountable for what they are supposed to provide? Proper sanitation. What is the, when we talk of sanitation, there's one thing which I face the challenge. I sometimes talk to guys in municipalities. I was wondering who is going to come for the conference. Are they technical people, or are they accountants, or are they admin people? Because when you look at this clean water, sanitation, it's the work of engineers. And accountants, sometimes we just get the documents, we approve, we sign. But it goes back again to the signing of documents at the stage of completion. What stage of completion is it? At what percentage when you sign the agreement? Is the agreement protecting the municipality to say, if this person does not finish the project, is there a retainer fee which is there? How much is the retainer fee? What is the percentage of sign-off which is recommended by the engineer? And what is the qualification of this engineer? There's one thing which always people joke about CAs. CAs are not afraid of police. We are not. What they are afraid of is their institute. That is the most difficult institute ever. professional institutions are more strict than the courts. If you go out of your line, they just cut you. You don't need to go and appeal. They just bring you before your action. You have done what is not expected by the institute. We deregister you. Are we getting the right people who are afraid of their institutes more than anything else? Because the moment you get someone who is not affiliated to any institute, I'll tell you, they'll just sign. But the moment that person knows that if I sign, I get deregistered, I'm not going to work again as an engineer anyway because they are blacklisted. Reliable electricity, that is one. Effective waste management. Waste management, it becomes one of the critical areas which we have. Where are we going in the future? What are the plans with the municipalities with waste management? Are we having plans which go beyond 20 years? Because the population is growing, or we just end up just having overnight and say, the population has grown up. What do we do? Are these coming in the strategic plans in everything which we are doing? Because everything we're talking about is part of auditing and is part of strategic issues which needs to be there in any organization. Or we just wake up and say, let's do 5-year plans. 5-year plans are gone now where there's population. We now need to talk about 20, 30-year plans so that they help the organization in directing it and actually to come back and say, where do we settle the people? If we do 5-year plans, 10-year plans, people, this is when you just find neighborhoods growing up from nowhere instead of just planning our things on time. We talk about well-maintained roads and municipal infrastructure. The entertainment. What is the entertainment for the kids? Are we having playing areas? This comes back again to the financial side of any organization, of any municipalities. Are we putting those in budget lines? Are we going back, or we say our infrastructure is only what's critical, no playgrounds, and we just cross out what's not important in the budget and say, the budget, does it talk about the social life of the people in the communities? I took this from the Auditor General report. There's an urgent call for performance, to say the performance has to improve. But I ask myself, who does this performance? Are we all equipped to improve the performance? Accountability. To whom are we accountable to? Are we holding ourselves accountable to people, or we just say, I'm here for work? And there's a culture of non-accountability. I think the auditor, I'll come to that. She highlighted that there's a culture of non-accountability in the municipalities and the local government. Who holds you accountable? Are we accountable to the people who provide service? Are we accountable even to our bosses? And are they accountable to everyone? I'm sometimes pass some comments with respect to the councillors who are here, with full respect. But when people go vote, they go vote for councillors, right? The councillors are the people who are supposed to bring what municipalities employees to account to them. It's a cycle, right? But you vote Shuro, you vote me into the office. I can't bring the CFO. Are we having council committees which are balanced? That is a question which the community, sometimes they expect you to provide the service. But we need to ask them to say, are we having a balanced full council bench? Are we having a balanced council committee, or we just vote and vote? You look at each municipality, they need someone who knows the financial side and bring the financial department to account. Because if you don't have anyone who can bring the financial department to account, they'll just go and put the financial statements and they don't understand. The same thing with technical issues. We need someone at a councillor level who brings the engineers and everyone to account. So when we talk of accountability and transparency, it's a cycle. It's a cycle which goes over and over. And at the end of the day, you might have someone whom you expect to demand something from someone, but they can't demand, they don't know what to ask. institutional integrity in local government. That is one of the issues which is very key. The integrity. What type of people are in the municipalities? Are we afraid, or are we people of high level of integrity? Honesty. Is it going to that level? This is one of the critical issues which the Auditor General pointed out. And the challenges is service delivery failures. That's a challenge. But I always ask, you can't keep on identifying a challenge, you must fix it. How should we fix it? How should we fix it, and who should fix it? Someone should just take ownership. I don't know who should take ownership to say, we must fix this service delivery and fix it for good. Because some of the challenges which trouble us, you find that the auditor comes, I'm an auditor at times, the auditor comes this year. Same issues are repeating. Where are we going? Where is the failure? Where's the challenge? And council, where is the challenge coming from? We are having same issues, same level of, if you look at the statistics of clean audits, you sometimes ask yourself and say, where's the profession? I talk about the accountants. Where are the accountants? Where are the accountants? Why are we not getting the clean audits? Is it that people are deliberately not getting clean audits, or it's competence issue? There are two issues there. It can't be just an unclean audit. It's either competence or it's deliberate. If it's competence, what is the municipality doing to support its staff members to be what? To be competent? Or there's the third one, pure, permanent, and identified recruitment error. Done. Because when we talk about this, when we talk about service, these are things which most people went to school to do, and they're experienced. So when you look at these challenges, council and administrative, financial mismanagement, and disregard for law, this fear of government faces demands in ever and regain the trust of South Africans. I think that is one of the biggest challenges, the confidence. When confidence is lost, it's lost. And that is one of the issues which needs to be brought to improve in the society. Right. Reasons for challenges: inadequate skills and capacity. Are we having developmental programs for everyone? That becomes one of the, I'll get to some of the documents, and I got lost in the document. And I asked myself, if I get lost, how many people have gotten lost in that document? I got lost. I'll show you one document. I just asked myself, if I got lost in the document, trying to read it and understand it, how many people have gotten lost in the document? Inadequate skills, governance failures, a culture of no accountability and consequences. I think we have discussed this. I think some of these issues which we have picked up here, they are issues which can be corrected by a different mindset. We need to change our mindset and go back and say, let's support those who are below us, and we improve, and we bring accountability. Let's support those who are above us, and we bring change in the organization. These are not issues, when we talk about reasons for challenges, these are not issues which someone can say they can't be solved. They are very easy to solve. But they only need commitment and a different mindset. Right. Government, this is the relationship which I was talking about. There's a relationship between the municipalities and the suppliers. But I was trying to read the supply chain management. I've got it there, the document. It's about 100 pages. Who has read from page 1 to the last page? I can ask that question. I asked my friends in municipalities. They haven't read it. I'm just saying, who has read this? Who can volunteer who says, I have read that document? Are we having documents which are too long to read? Are they too long to read? To me, it's too long. For me, it's too long. Because you can't expect someone to read a 100-page document and go and implement it without a summarized, brief document attached. That's how I take it. Even though I read them. But I got lost. I said, this means this means this. And I went to one local municipality, Messina. I said, they are not here, so we can discuss them. I read the document, and I said, critical question, do they really understand what they write? If these documents are there, so why are we having these problems? Because we have got challenges, right? We need to accept we have got challenges. We have got documents which needs to be followed. What are we coming to? We need to identify sometimes the source of our problems. For me, the document is too long. I don't know to others. Even if you ask me to explain to someone, by the time I finish explaining, I would have forgotten what I read in the first chapter. Right. Because remember, we have got a process in the system, and we have got different levels in the municipalities of employment, right? And you find that we need, this is mostly for the executives, for the top guys who can read and go. But someone who is passing and reading and expected to read, I doubt if you expect them to read this. That is supply chain management, which comes from the local government, municipality, the act. What is the supporting information for that? Because you've got a person who is hands-on at the area. That person needs a support to say, if I've got a challenge here, I quickly refer to. But can they refer to the act? Can they refer to something which is 100 pages? Or they just need a pocket reference document? There's the contract management. This one, I looked at it. I just said, they have developed policies, critical question. Are they understood? And why the challenges? This is what puzzles me. If the documents are there and everything, so why are we having challenges? I think I'll leave that because I saw in the later on during the conference, you are going to go into the rooms. At the end of the day, you need to come up and being honest to say, why are we having these challenges? I remember I once worked for one boss. We went for breakfast. I'm an opinionated person. I'll tell you what I think there and there. I told him my peace of mind. He didn't like it. He said, "Go on, are you serious?" I said, "Yes, I'm serious. I meant what I said." We drove separate cars. I could tell you, he was angry, I was angry. I go to the office, and everyone thought we were going to explode. We exploded in a restaurant, in a public place. But the question at the end of the day is, sometimes our bosses are not right. Do we stand up for them? And if we stand up, does the system protect us? That is one of the challenges which I say this because I've seen it. It's there in the newspapers. The moment you say the boss is doing something wrong, the moment you are what? You are at home. So I say things as they are. The moment you say the boss you have done something wrong, the moment after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the case dies down. 2 months, you find a funny case coming up, and you ask yourself, so with all these documents, are we creating an environment? There's record keeping document, again, it's a long document, and everything is there. But why are we failing? To me, it's more to do with the human being, more than anything else. The system is there. And where do we want to go? We want to go to something like this, an effective local municipality. This is where we want to go and achieve. And we want this to be very, very key in everything we do. But what you see here at the center, it's culture. That culture is very important. What culture is in the organization? What culture is in the municipality? Is it about transparency, that culture? Is it about accountability? Is it about performance It's about institutional integrity. I was reading one, was it today? Let me keep quiet about that. But, but you see, this culture, transparency, relations. I'm an African. We know what's an angle, right? But we go to the act. It says your immediate what? Family. I've got angles myself. I hope you understand. My uncle is my father. But it's not there in the what? In the act. My mother's brother is my uncle again. And in my culture, I call him mom again. Right? But he's not there in the what? In the act. The act is very clear. Your wife, your kids are your immediate what? Family, right? So, what are these things developed? Are they meeting the society which they are from? Because if I go to my boss today, I say I want to go for my uncle's funeral. He says no, he's not immediate, right? But if the contract comes from my uncle, we apply the same principle. I'm talking technical issues. But does it fit in the integrity, accountability, and transparency? I've got close relatives, some uncles, where we say, hey, this one is too close, uncle. But we remain as what? Uncles. And we go in the business together because the act protects us. But the question is, are we being transparent? Where we register our interests. When you are asked to register interests, you go and register. The only thing which comes up is people know the relationships. Some families are very big. You have got surname A, surname B, surname C. Surname A, you have got a brother, can use surname B. No one knows. What are we doing? Because we are talking about the culture in the organization. It should promote also, it should create a balance, both sides. Right. Reasons for failure, uncompetitive, unfair procurement process. These things are human induced. If I say human induced, there are things which human beings can manipulate and can also manage. We can manage the process, pure contract management. We let things fly because the contractor tells you it's a catch 50-50. I've got a friend who is a contractor. He tells you that we can work for 2 months, for a month, without any invoice coming from the municipality. Is that true? Is that true? But how do you expect that person to survive? He has got 20 employees on site or 40 employees on site, right? We need to talk this because reasons for failure. We need to look at, he has got 100 employees on site. You just say, we only pay when you invoice or wait at this stage. But is that a proper contract which you are into? Are we not pushing someone to manipulate the system? Someone will feel sorry for him and say, or for him and say, let me just sign it off. How are we doing these contracts? Are we only taking traditional contracts or we are not revising the traditional contracts? I think that is where it matters. And I've looked at some of the contracts. They are very funny. Why am I saying funny? You pay someone, but there's no timesheet. And you expect the person, what you just say, deliver. But the contributing factor for any charge is time times what? Times rate, right? And when there's no factor of time, how do you pay? Non-compliance, that is what we know. But I think also the regulations themselves, we read them, but we don't understand them. That is why sometimes suppliers take advantage. Preferential treatment, lack of basic controls, poor record and document management. On F, the poor record and document, this is what the Auditor General looks at. They don't know what was happening. They just looked at poor records management, that's what they look at the end of the year, and they say, this municipality is right or wrong. Right. Lump sum contracts, I'm not going to be technical. I don't know whom I'm talking to here. I might talk my technical things. Someone raises the hand and says, Shuro, what you're saying is not correct. Or I might say it, and someone says, hey, Shuro, I'm now losing you, right? But I'll just give a brief. Lump sum contracts, time-based, these are types of contracts which are there. But one thing with contracts, they are all the same. There's you, the municipality, and there's the what? The supplier. Performance matters in the contract. What is fundamental in the contract is performance. Are we taking the traditional contract and is just taking an accountant, taking an engineering contract and signing it off? Are we looking at these contracts into project specific, or are we just taking generic contracts? And are we looking at these contracts and say, what is fair to the supplier as well? Right? There are things which are, I know there's the 10% retention, 25% stage, 50%, whatever, those stages of payments. But are they fair on the supplier? Because if someone is not unfair, it's not fair on you, what do you become? You become a crook, right? They are pushing you somewhere. Are we not pushing suppliers to become crooks? Are we creating a good working relationships with suppliers? Where the supplier says, I have not done my part. I know what I'm supposed to do. And then they come back and say, I have not delivered. Or you come back and say, the contract was 1 million. We are only going to pay you 1 million. Sometimes I sit with people. One of my areas is ethics. That's where I specialize, sustainability, ethics. I sit in some of committees where someone comes and says, Ngona, I've got a challenge here. I need to provide the service. But what this guy is paying me is not worth it. But I need the experience. Where you know what happens with experience, I remember when I was still applying for a job, even now, when you apply for the job, or when I was still a student, just after graduation, what do you see? We want someone with experience, 3 years experience. We want someone who has worked on this. You go on any municipality website, you want to tender there. How many references? 5? 10? They've got points, those references, right? An upcoming guy, it's a service industry. He knows his stuff, doesn't have a reference. You kick him out. Is it fair? Because we are just talking about the contracts. Are the contracts being designed to be fair to the supplier? What does that guy do? I'll tell you what they do. They just ask someone that guy who goes to someone with experience. I just want experience, my friend. And the contracts are not being fair. So the basis for contracts has to be fair for anything. Because what are we retaining? Are we looking for references? Why do we really want references at some of the projects? Or you want the skill of the person? Or you tell him that we don't trust you. We have not worked together. Let's discuss this contract. You work to this stage, we sign it off, we pay you. You work to this stage, we sign it off, we pay you. Because when you drive in most municipalities, let me not say all municipalities, in most, the biggest projects we see are buildings which are in ISO, which are not completed, right? Or badly done. You walk into the new buildings, you hit the tile, it makes a sound. I'm into construction as well. It makes a sound. You can tell, this guy, it's a shoddy job which was done here. There are gaps. There's air gaps. You go back to the building after a year, things are falling apart. But I ask myself, one, who was monitoring the project from the municipality side? Because it's part of contract management. Who signed off? I go back to the professional body. Because if the person signs off twice, once, thrice, send him to the professional board. They'll deal with that person. Not you, don't trouble yourself. So it goes back again to appointing the right people. And when you talk about appointing the right people, what the councillors will tell you, these people are expensive. It's costly. But a costly person saves a lot for the organization than a cheap person. Right. We have discussed the planning, contract arrangement, contract administration. But some of the contracts are going for long. Time management is critical. Some of the contracts should just be broken down into stages. We want someone to build. I was listening to the news about, when was it? Last week, where the Minister of Health, or was it Minister of Health, says that Limpopo, is it Training Hospital? The project is on track. And I just asked myself, these guys have just started. These guys have just started. They were just clearing the land. And they're on track. Where it matters most, we know, right? We want to know, to myself, I'm an auditor. I want to know the budget, the stages, what matters most. I hope you understand. That's what matters most. You can say you're on track. Yes, you're on track. Oh, eyesight track. But I want to know the financial consequences. What's that? Are we not already having a budget blowing or forecasting the budget to blow? I'm just saying I don't know. But I need to see the numbers for me to trust him. Right. Contract relationship management, contract disputes. Disputes should not only happen at the end, at the payment stage. Disputes normally happen to say, pay us, pay us, pay us, I know. But disputes should happen even at inception to say, this is what we signed for. You are not delivering. You are supposed to give us 50 people. We did a count. We saw on site 20 people. You said in your bid documents, you are going to give us Max, Mike, Peter. Where are these people? Have you done that? Have you gone to tick on site? To say these people are the ones working. Or they have replaced Mike with John, John with Grace, Grace with Janet. And now you go back to the CVs. The CVs which are submitted and the experience which are submitted is totally what? Different. So contract disputes should happen there when you monitor the progress of the project. To say, hey, we have got a count today. We have got a count today. Let's see who is on site. You tick, you tick, you tick, you tick. And then you have got a dispute there. We want to see the person you submitted on site. Right. Risk related to contract management, penalties. Are we putting tough penalties to our suppliers? Or we just say, there's nothing. Let's just pay. He comes to the office or she comes to the office complaining, I've been working here for so long, but you guys must pay me. Put tough penalties and share that database for delinquent suppliers who don't supply, who don't provide the right service. And there's nothing wrong because you're an organization, municipalities share information. Right. Transfer and ceding of contracts, termination of contracts, exit from the relationship and the closeout. Are we doing that whole process? And are we getting feedbacks also from contracts? Because if you look at some of the contracts, they are very interesting. What we see happening on the roads there, someone what do you call this, patching up potholes. And you just say, they are patching up potholes. But who gave this contract? The work they are doing, I'm not an engineer. I see the work they are doing is substandard. But someone is seated in the office, signs off and pays off that person. Right. This is where the auditor comes in. What do you call an accountant with an opinion is an auditor. There's no difference between yourselves and auditors. Auditors, they don't know. They come to you, I'll give an example. They say 1, 2, 3, they don't count. They ask you to count for them. And they what? They recount. They don't count. So whatever the auditor finds, this is a bad report. And I don't know where we are going. Some of us, I'm opinionated. Someone is sleeping on the job there. And I don't know who is sleeping on the job. It's not the municipalities, it's the higher offices who have to make decisions. To say, you got someone in the office. Why are we not having clean audits? It still boggles my mind why there's no clean audits. It still confuses me. Because an auditor comes and do what you do. They come and repeat. Auditors, they don't do anything. They'll say, can we have a contract for this supplier? Can we have contracts for this project, right? And they just review what you have presented to them. Sorry about that. Where is it now? No. Where am I? Am I done? You want to finish? You're tired. It's afternoon. They asked me to do for an hour. So let me rush. I see you are getting tired. Right, afternoons. So it's a question we need to ask ourselves to say, how do we move from 46, that 46, 20% is a fail, right? Unqualified with findings is a fail. That's the truth. You can't have, there's no difference unqualified with findings, qualified with findings, adverse. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, there's no difference. There's no difference. It's just an issue of how does the auditor feel that day? It just depends. One issue can be unqualified with findings. That same issue can be qualified with findings, adverse findings, disclaimer. It depends the day, on that day, what is the mood of the auditor. I'm being honest. It depends. If they came from a bad municipality and they find you better, they won't give you an disclaimer. But they'll say this municipality is what? Is better. But in their right sense, if they're not coming from there, they're going to give you what? A disclaimer. Right. Records management, people are tired. Hey, records management importance. We spoke about this. It's very important. It's a point of reference for any dispute in the future. It's a point of reference also for you to know who's the best supplier and who not to what? To provide the service in the future. And then when we talk of records management, that's the importance and how to overcome the challenges which I've identified. It's skilling up, capacitating the employees, filling all vacancies, governance failures. But one thing which controls everything, which is the center of it, it's all about integrity and commitment. Integrity and commitment. And being what? Ethical. Whatever we do, let's try to be ethical. And I'll end here. I was asked to give a lecture, but it wasn't a lecture. I don't lecture, I do discussions. The critical questions you need to ask yourself. Provide suggestions which are applicable to your local government. Suggest improvements to be done in the system and any other. What difference can you bring to the organization after this conference? What difference can you do also for yourself after the conference? Because there's a lot of discussion which is going to happen in the breakaway rooms. Go there and try to get new knowledge. And also, if those documents are shared, if they are too long, you can share it there and say, we just need a short summarized document. What do I check? Which is very what? Critical for you. Because some of the documents, there's too many acts, too many policies, but policies are there to guide us to implement, right? And they should not become difficult to follow, but they should assist us to meet a certain goal, right? I think I'll get there. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions or comments? I'll take, but not too technical questions. Right.
Thank you very much. The doctor is now co-chairing with me, but however, we were going to the comments, the questions, and the inputs, so don't go anywhere so that we can take the hands from our good audience. Councillors, I've got two. We'll start with your, oh, let's start here. You'll be the first, I'll give you numbers, and you'll be the second. The third, the fourth at the back. Abutwaka Komorahoko, you'll be the fourth. On this side, we don't have any hands. Okay, let's start there. Thanks.
You can continue.
Thank you.
Number one.
Thank you very much for this opportunity and thank you for the presentation. I just want to say it's very difficult to do oversight when we are actually doing oversight after the fact.
I think you are not audible. Can you hear her at the back? Very well. Oh, okay, thanks.
So that's the one problem. The other problem, it's very difficult to do oversight at all if there's no transparency. And it depends very much on your MM and the culture of the municipality to actually get information. We don't always want to quote the acts in order to get any information. So that is the challenges that we are facing. Thank you.
I'm writing the questions down, then I'll address them at the end.
Thanks, Doctor. I heard that you were saying we should have clean routine audits, but we have many employees that we employ, but they are not helping us. So what as a councillor, I see we are having a problem. Maybe you can give us a direction or a knowledge to capacitate us. I think we have an opposition called employees, officials actually. They are the ones that are doing our work difficult to implement. So how can we hold them accountable so that if they don't do their work, we should chase them away? That's what I mean.
Thanks, Chair. Maybe let me first appreciate the presentation. Maybe just to disappoint the previous speaker, I'm one of the officials. So I'll be the first one to be fired. Just few points. The presentation was silent for me on the issue of audit committees. One was hoping that it will cover the role of audit committees and how such can strengthen governance within a municipality. Maybe then also just to congratulate the municipalities. When you go through the Aegis report, we see a decrease in the money that is spent for consultants for about 153 million to about 57 million. So I think that was a good one. It means that there's a definite improvement. The other thing that I wanted then to check was then to say, as we speak, I was also hoping to see the role of MPEX in the presentation to say how then do they strengthen governance and how do they help to hold, how do they help the municipality to hold officials accountable for what they do. One was also hoping to see that the role of the Auditor General, because normally when the AG gives the management letter, it has recommendations. The AG also in his report made mention of the fact that some municipalities did well because her recommendations were adhered to. It's a she now, so I need to be correct. And then lastly, just then to say, perhaps also, what is it that we can learn from other provinces? As the province of Gauteng, so that at least it becomes much more easier for us. We don't only come here, have these conferences, but then we also say, within the IGR system, intermunicipal arrangements, what is it that we can learn from the other? We always don't need consultants. And then lastly, maybe then just to comment on contract management. National Treasury, I think it has, and Provincial Treasury has a unit that deals with SCM or supply chain management, which is also there to assist municipalities with basic contract management. So I think such services also, if they are rightly employed. And then lastly, the one on records management. The AG says the problem of ineffective or poor record keeping within a municipality, it is due to the fact that one, you do not have a qualified records manager in a municipality. Two, you will realize that you don't have an approved file plan. So everyone is doing his or her filing. There's no system that's used. Maybe if we can also migrate from manual filing to automated, it will also then make life much easier. I'm working for Salga. Before the previous CEO we had, that was Mr. XG Xolile George, Salga was swimming in disclaimers. And one of the key issues was ineffective record keeping. Once we got that right, the organization became what it is today. So if municipalities can learn from a sister organization like us, I think we can be able to achieve many things. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Dr. Taylor, I only have very few questions, just two. Firstly, it's about contract management. We have an issue. We discussed it in council last week. We have a contract whereby these people with the contract, when the report came from province, because it's a contract to actually build walk-ups in Sikelo. So it has to pass through our human settlement department. So the contract, when the report comes from province, the contract is supposed to cost 45 million. But then when we get to site, doing oversight, there's a board outside site that will say how much the contract cost. When we look at the contract there, by the site, it says 30 million. So there's a 15 million difference there that we don't know what's the story about. And the second part of it is about deviations in municipalities. We work in municipalities which do not have money. They are cash-strapped. We are operating on deficit accounts. So how do we deal with deviations in the municipality? Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Doctor. If we look at the statistics over the last financial year, 22-23, we found that we see that only 13.2% of municipalities get a clean audit. Now, I'm sure quite a huge percentage of that goes back to supply chain and irregularities within supply chain. Now, would it not be advisable to look at our MFMA and expand either on Section 166 of the Municipal Finance Management Act, whereby, and I'm going to quote, each municipality must have an audit committee which is an independent advisory body. Alike to that, would it not be advisable to have an independent advisory body to specifically look at management of supply chain? So that would mean, would require maybe an amendment to the Act, but that would also enable and empower people to understand what is supply chain. And it's not just a matter of spending the city's money or the municipality's money, but it's a matter of spending the money wisely to the benefit of the community which is being served. I thank you, sir.
No, thank you very much, Doc. Revolutionary greeting to everyone, doctors, councillors, officials. Doc, let me go straight to this thing that the report is actually quite, does not speak much of what actually we are facing when we deal with MFA. It does not speak much of consequence management. It does not speak much about the accountability, where then it will also answer my colleague when he referred to the issues of officials not taking account for what they are designed to do. I think my colleague, one thing that he must also be answered is that official, they've got a responsibility as well, and certain things. But the other things that we seem to forget about officials is that we are not giving them a tool of trade. And without a tool of trade, it means officials cannot perform their duties, which is a fact. And those are some of the other things that we're willing to see articulations in your presentations, that it will speak much of such, not only to put pressures on officials, as if they are not here to account on what they are designed to do. It does not speak much, again, with regard to the report in terms of audit report, because you must understand that the audit report also, it must be submitted on time. And what if it does not submit on time, what is it should be the consequence management of such? And there are no such things that are actually included in the report. We were hoping to hear a thorough investigation that goes into the entire MFA and the consequence management as well, that will then make everybody account, not particular only officials, including even us councillors. We must account for the mistake that we are making, because when we're in council, sometimes we pass a budget that is on zero on other things. We pass a budget that is on zero increase of employees. And I'm telling you that you can't expect officials to operate, whereas they are getting nothing at the end of the month. So a report must focus on the entire financials of the city, so that everyone can perform her or his duties in order to ensure that we come up with the positive outcome of audit. But if each and everyone is sleeping on duty, it's not because they are sleeping. A thorough investigation must be done. Why are they sleeping? I can tell you that we've got what you call Metropolis, or I can just say police, that you phone police, say, I need a service. They will tell you that we don't have a car. When you get into a council, you say, police are useless. You can't be saying they are useless, because they are no tool of trade. So I'm hoping your report next time when you present, then it will come with overview of everything. Then it include from start to finish. Thank you very much.
I think the questions are done, right? Right.
Let's have a hand here, Councillor Butler, and then we are having those who are online. I just want to check with Mapefo if we do have any hands online.
Thank you, Dr. Shiro. I'm Councillor Butler. Mine is based on the one that you have cited on the overcoming record management challenges requires a strategic approach. I so wish you could add more solutions. And I was thinking of one to provide training and awareness programs that you should have added on that one and implement a robust record system. That's all. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. You can answer. Or Mapefo, do we have anybody online? Okay, we still have another hand.
Oh, thank you. Greetings, Doctor and everyone. Doctor, I just wanted to highlight that under contract management, I think in your presentation, unless maybe tomorrow there will be further discussion regarding transversal contracting, because it plays a major roles within the three spheres of government. And yeah, maybe as part of contract management. Thank you.
Who can assist in it? Do we have any hands online? Not. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the questions. I will try to answer the questions, and I'll go back straight to the point. All the questions I got, there's one theme which is coming out. It's competence of people. And one person highlighted that you can't expect to have a result if there's no tool of what? Trade. It's a, remember I said it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It comes from the council to the municipality to the council. That circle, someone in the circle has to own up. It's either the councillors have to own up, or the MM has to own up with the what? With their teams. I hope we understand. And someone has to say, who shall I follow? I am the leader, but I'm going to follow my subordinate. I want to just to make sure that we break that circle, to say, you might be the councillor, you might be the big boss there, but there's an MM. Who are you to follow? Who is supposed? It's just like the unfortunate thing. If you go to any private organization, someone sets the tone in the organization. Someone sets the tone to say, if there's a CEO, he walks into the office at 7:30, even everyone starts work at 8. What time does everyone get in the office? 7:30. Because the CEO, the owner of the company is there at what? 7:30, sets the tone. So I just want to be clear. So the challenge we have in municipality, are the councillors setting the tone? Or are the MMs or the employees, are they setting the tones? It's the question you need to ask. I'll give an example. If the meeting starts at 2, what time do the councillors arrive? Right? If the boardroom starts at 2, what time does the CFO walk into the meeting? Right. I just wanted to give an oversight before I go to specific questions. There's an oversight after the event, transparency, councillor accountability. I think the challenge we have is sometimes to make a decision to say, where do we break? Let's forget what happened in the past. Let's start doing the future. What happened in the past is a mess, but let's start doing the right things now. Because if you go to your theme of the conference, what is the right time? Let me go back. It goes to issue of time. Let me go back to, right. And at the right time, what is the right time? The right time is now. Let's forget what happened in the past. Let's forget those contracts which are giving us headaches. Let's forget all the mistakes which have happened and start doing it now. And let's have briefing meetings with everyone in the council to say, let's schedule meetings. If it's supply chain, schedule a meeting and do a brief with the MM to say, this is what we have, this is what we have. But let's remember, people we work with different in organizations. That's why I said, your municipality, you know the challenges, you know how to go around the challenges which you face. So I think the oversight and and the issue of transparency, there are people who are not even transparent in their own personal lives. And you can't expect them to be transparent at work. But the only way, I'm just being honest, but the only way you can put them online is to put that form for them to what? To be transparent, to sign off. Make them sign. There are people you sit, 5 of you, 6 of you, you say, where should we buy lunch? You are 10. 7 are silent, only 1 person talks. I hope you know those. Those things that happen. I sit in one board meeting where I end up telling people, you don't talk, I make decisions. We are all equals, right? I dictate, and I said, you follow me. They started talking now. I sit in I'm just being honest. I'm very opinionated. I'll tell you I was telling them, we do this, this is the work plan. They said, the first days they were just seated, we do the work plan. Do it. Then they said, we failed the other point. They said, hey, you should have. I said, no, it's not my problem. Everyone is what? Accountable. The fact that you are silent, you are accountable. The fact that you talk, you are what? Accountable. I think what is important, let's go back and have training sessions with the people in particular positions and say, this is what you are held accountable. I'll come to the councillor's comment. Councillors being capacitated. I think I said it at the beginning. It's a cycle. Councillors should take also an effort to be capacitated. And you need also go back and say, split responsibilities. There are things in councils, we are all humans. We can be all here. There are things which I don't know, there are things which I'll never know, right? You split responsibilities at the council level and take ownership and also take accountability as councillors. I heard you were pushing back that the employees don't respect you, whatever. Yes, I hear that they don't respect you, but I've got a question for you, councillors. Are you doing performance measurements for yourselves? To say, we are in council, you are supposed to run this portfolio. You have failed as a councillor. Are we doing those? Are we holding each other accountable? Remember, it's a culture. Organizations have culture. If councillors at their level start being accountable to the council, then everyone in the organization, even if you call the MM or the CFO, you say, where's the report? Why did you have this unclean audit? Then they then they also become accountable. But the fact that it's a vicious circle of unaccountability, it continues in the organization. That's the unfortunate part. I sit in other committees where I know these things happen. The unfortunate part is sometimes, if those people in higher levels, they are not accountable, it becomes a challenge to force it to junior people. Walk into the office, councillors, I'll give you a challenge. Start walking there, if you are the mayor or whatever. If you have got a meeting, be there 1 hour early. You'll find everyone seated 1 hour early before you arrive. They see what you do, not what you tell them, but what you do. Right, you spoke about the audit committee strengthening. Strengthening of the audit committee, I'll advise you to write a letter to SAICA. I'm promoting my institute now. I'm not a spokesperson for SAICA, but I know they do it. Write a letter to SAICA, ask them to say, we need CAs to be part of audit committees. They'll get you those people happily, and you get them. And when they come to the committees, pay them well. And make them what? Accountable. I know one friend of mine works at one municipality. What he doesn't like, I'll be honest, he doesn't like the audit committee chair. Because the audit committee chair is what? Is thorough. I hope you understand. The audit chair is thorough. If the audit chair is thorough, then they get a clean report. You get anyone in the audit committee who just walks in and says, I'm coming and they are not thorough, screen them. You tell them you've got 1 year in the audit committee to get us a clean report. They'll get you a clean report. That's an advice. And I'll send a bill for you. You get them, and the whole, because there's no reason why you can't get a clean report. There's no reason. You can enlarge your audit committee, get the right people who put the right pressure to the right people. But don't expect someone, you put someone there who tells you that the person who is there is not competent. And you say, let's just proceed. Let's proceed. We have got a contract with this person. He's not competent. He can't deliver. That's the unfortunate part. If one person can't deliver a clean report year 1, year 2, year 3, and you hope for year 4, year 5, over my dead body, it won't happen. Get the right people into the offices, And it doesn't mean that it's the CFO. It's not the CFO. You can actually say, CFO, we have seen that this is not your plate. You can't get us a clean report. We have made an appointment for someone to get us a clean report. Not a consultant, a full-time employee. He'll get you a clean report. Consultants, they come and they go. What matters to them is what? The money. If you know that you are done, pay the consultant high fee and tell him, there's a bonus for you in there. We pay you 500,000, 500 million. If you get us, you won't sleep, you get you a clean report. It's easy. I've been through that process and I know. I'm an auditor. I've been audited. I've gone around where's the West organization than municipalities where there are no numbers. We start from scratch. The bank statement, we get a clean report. It's just a commitment. Right. Holding officials accountable. I think I've addressed it. Hold yourself accountable. I once had a CFO, not CFO, CEO. That guy, you did not need to ask him. At 10, you've got a meeting at 10, and it's a 30 minutes drive. You wait at his car 10 minutes before he's there. You are not there on time, he goes. You find yourself. I'm just being, you hold yourself accountable, and you lead by example. And he knew also that if he's not there for the meeting, I'll chair the meeting and continue, and I'll say, you were late, my friend. Right, so there was a contract of 15 million. That one referred to the right offices. I can't answer that one. To say 30 million, written on the board, 45 million in the contract, refer to the right office. Yeah, but it goes back to integrity, ethics, and being what? Honest. Right. There was a suggestion that for a committee to be introduced for SCM management. 100% agreed. But there's one thing which you don't need a committee. It's the job of the audit committee already. You can tell the audit committee to say, review all the contracts. They are supposed to do that. Remember, what is the role of audit committees? To keep an eye on the what? Operations, right? So they don't have a limit. Auditors, they don't have a limit. So the moment they limit themselves just to the financials, it means there's something wrong. So they need to look also at the contracts to say, are the contracts being signed correctly? The record management, is it being done correctly? And also, one thing which the audit committee is responsible for is to make sure that all the issues which have been picked up in the previous year are cleared. That is the responsibility of the what? Audit committee. To make sure that they bring the CFO, they bring the team to say, these are the issues which were raised by the Auditor General. How have you cleared them? That is the role of the audit committee. So the audit committee capacitation becomes an issue. And also sometimes they come for meetings, but sometimes these meetings you are paid unfairly. Why am I saying unfairly? I showed you the documents which are there, the 100 pages, right? You expect someone to come and discuss a 100-page document and to understand it within 2 hours. You say, they were here for 2 hours. Audit committee started at 3, they finished at 5. Let's pay for 2 hours. Create a balance on the payment system. Create a balance for those external committee members who come also to say, how much time have they spent outside the presence, in your what? In your presence. I think that becomes very key. In terms of having it in the act, I think it should be more or less in the culture of the organization to say, if ever we sign a contract on a monthly basis, do we have a contract checklist review? Do we have a contract checklist to say, if we put out a tender, did the committee sit down, did they give us their report? Did they actually do a thorough information or analysis of their reports? You end up getting, say, we give someone who has got 90 points versus 80 points, right? But do you go beyond the point system to evaluate? You say reference letter, 10 points, they get 40, right? But someone brings 2 reference letters, which are more detailed, they get 2 points, they get 20, other one with 4 reference, 40. But the work they've done, the one with 1 reference letter has done more work than everyone. How do you look at that? Or we are just ticking? So it goes back again to that committee to say, before you award the contract, have you gone through what is more additional rather than the number issue? What is the soft issues of the letters? Consequence management. I think consequence management is at every level. Sometimes people think that is when things happen which are bad. A bad apple is a bad apple. What is good, right? That is consequence management. If someone, those offices, if an issue is referred, a senior and a subordinate refer an issue. A subordinate refers an issue for their senior. The committees take time to sit on or something. Do you think next time that person is going to bring the issue? No. Right, they won't. I sit in one committee where I was asked a very difficult question by one guy. He says, we had this issue, we reported this issue about 6 months ago, and this issue was not dealt with timeously. How should I trust you to sit on this issue and discuss? When the process to hear the case took 6 months, right? Tell me, how long is it going to make a decision on the case? So it goes back again to say, how promptly do we deal with issues of daily operations? It's part of culture. And then there was a last question, the technical issues. I think there will be transverse contracts. They will be dealt in the contract, in the specific rooms for that. Is there a question I missed? No. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ngoni. This is a token of appreciation from Salga Gauteng and ourselves as Salga PEC.
Thank you.
Oh.
When you get these things, these gifts, we need to ask ourselves to say, is it a bribe or it's not? So it's not, right? I'm safe, right? Thank you very much to everyone.
Once more, a round of applause for him. Thank you, councillors and officials. It really tells that he is doing a lot of ethics, because he indicated when he was here that ethics. And what I liked, it's what he has done about our theme, saying doing the right things for the right reasons, in the right way, and at the right time. And he asked, who are we doing it for? Do we do it because it must be done? And he said, whether we like it or not, it must be done. And he also indicated that we should do things at the right time. As councillors, we must ensure that we call public meetings. We must ensure that we have the time communicate with our communities. As officials, they must ensure that they do IDPs, whatever that has been spoken about at those IDPs, it must be implemented accordingly. And not only that, to be budgeted for, so that service delivery can be seen to be working. And ladies and gentlemen, councillors, you mentioned that there were no other matters like the councillor there mentioned MPEG and however, we are going to have commissions tomorrow, and most of the issues that you have raised here are going to be dealt with at those commissions. We will be having 3 commissions that we are going to discuss, the record and document management and the supply chain management, and also audit will be discussed at those particular commissions. And Doctor, you also said that we must go there, we must ensure that we learn whatever that we learned, we must go back to our municipalities and make sure that we implement it. We thank you for that. It was indeed a wonderful lecture. And ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our session, and I've got an announcement here. Remember that we are having sponsors that are not bribing us, Doctor. They are doing justice and ensuring that we get capacitated. As you said, we should capacitate ourselves. And we are having a course here from Regenesis, which is one of our sponsors. It's a course that is it's an executive leadership development program, and it's for senior public sector management. The duration is 6 months, and it starts at the 12th of November. Registration deadline is on the 11th of October. So you are most welcome to capacitate yourself and to enroll on this program. Thank you very much to Regenesis. And, sorry? The cost. Remember, you have to inquire. They are here, you will acquire. Naki, I'm just delivering the message, informing you to say that there is this that is going to happen. So do inquire with Regenesis. They are our sponsors. They are in the room. At least I can make you laugh. Thank you so much. Like I said, we are at the end of our program. We are also going to have closing remarks from our PEC member, who is Councillor Belinda. Please come on stage, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director. I must say today was really not a waste. Did everybody enjoy today's session? I really want to thank everybody for coming to today's session. I think it's crucial that we started on this note. As we wrap up our session, I just want to highlight some of the things that stood out for me. Firstly, crucial, effective procurement management for improving service delivery. It's all got to do with service delivery. When we do the right things, for the right reasons, at the right time, and the right way. Sorry, I've got it the other way around. But it's important that we understand our why we are where we are. All of us are public servants. And there's no blaming of councillors and blaming of officials. It is important that we introspect ourselves as well. I think we've started off in a very good way where we talked about the ethics, and I'm so glad to Dr. for Nozi, Dr. Ndozi, I think, for putting this in perspective, starting off with ethics, because it's important that we look at ourselves and look at why we are in the public sector, why are we doing what we're doing, and it's to serve our communities. Another one I would like to also just highlight what that stood out for me was the importance of collaboration. And I think this gentleman from with the suit here has the official. They said he's the official to disappoint the councillors. No, you didn't disappoint us. It is important that we collaborate, not only between municipalities, but between provinces. I think we've got so much to learn from each other. And I just want to say today set such a good tone for everybody. Let's not sit in our corners and talk to the people that we always talk to. Let's talk to people from different municipalities. Let's learn what they are doing differently from us. Councillors, let's talk to each other. How are you doing your oversights? One thing that one of the councillors in the front said very important is, and it's an issue I think across municipalities, is that the oversights sometimes come after the fact, which is a challenge because we are not part of the procurement process, but we are held accountable when things, and I think it's something as councillors we need to talk about over the coming few days as well, that how do we get into that oversight without being accused of interference at the same time. I think it's very important that we have that conversation as well as public representatives, because it's important, because when you ask too many questions, and I'm sure Councillor Mgina can attest to some of these, the MMC of Development Planning in Joburg, that sometimes when you ask, I want to see what happened here, you'll be accused of interference because somebody sent a complaint from the communities that we don't see the road, but money is paid. And we are held accountable as councillors, but we are not there with the supply chain processes. So some of those things we need to discuss as well. So I think today, starting with ethics, doing the right things at the right time for the right reasons, I think it's important that we have that conversations with each other and also with officials We are not your enemy as councillors, because I'm also a ward councillor, and I was just saying to Dr. Mojapelo earlier that as a ward councillor, we have to face our communities, and we have to account for decisions that are made where we are not sitting in those decision making in terms of procurement. We only see that the road is being done or not being done, and residents come and stone our houses for something we did not decide on physically, but we have to do oversight on. So I think it's important. I just want to commend my colleagues and the chairperson of SALGA in absentia today for this session. It's very important because at the end of the day, all of us must do this together. We cannot do it alone. We have to work with each other, not against each other. And I want to say to officials, we are not your enemy when we are asking questions. We just want accountability as councillors. And as councillors, when we hold each other to account as well, we have IDP sessions. You can ask colleagues. In IDP sessions, sometimes our residents will ask us these questions that we are asking you in the IDP sessions, and we got to be able to answer them. So it's important that we are having a frank and honest conversation with each other as councillors and as officials without, let me use the slang, catching feelings. Let's be frank with each other. Let's collaborate. Let's work together, colleagues. We are here to improve the lives of the people of this province. Thank you very much. I look forward to see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Belinda. Oh, Cecily Twile, goodbye, Todsins, see you tomorrow.